Hey everybody, welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I am your host, Ichigo.
And I am Mikan.
Welcome back, guys. Join us this week as we discuss the movie Wolf Children, also known as Ookami Kodomo no Ame to Yuki. Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. So, this week we are going to be discussing the anime movie Wolf Children, also known as Ookami Kodomo no Ame to Yuki. And this is actually one of my number one favorite anime movies.
I'm right there with you.
I will just keep watching it over and over and over and over again.
It
It's so beautiful.
is.
It is absolutely beautiful. So, for those that have not seen this movie, you can stream it right now on Crunchyroll in either English or Japanese. And Wolf Children is the story of Hana, a woman who falls in love with a wolf man and gives birth to his half human, half wolf children. After her lover's tragic death, Hana moves to a rural town and attempts to build a life for herself and her children. So, just off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
Mikan, what you think? What you think?
So I think this is my third time watching this. It's been a
Same.
while. It's been a while, and honestly, I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first two times. Honestly, though, I forgot a lot of the details, and that threw
Mhm.
me off, especially because now I feel like I'm older watching it.
Yeah.
Because I watched it when it first came out,
Mhm.
which was a little while ago. I think 2012, yeah, so it's been a while, and then I watched
2012,
it
2013, yeah.
mhm, and then I think I watched it, like, maybe a year or 2 later, and then I watched it now, so now I'm, like, a whole different age, and just watching it, I'm like, "Whoa." There was a lot of details I didn't notice, but honestly, it's such a beautiful and whimsical story, and I really just absolutely love the little deep meanings they have in there, about,
Mhm.
maternal love and
Mhm.
it's just about enduring and the triumphant nature of maternal love, and I think it's just so beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. I also loved the fact that rather than the story being told from Hana's perspective, although we get Hana's perspective, the narrator of the story is actually her daughter, Yuki,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is absolutely beautiful in my eyes because I'm like, her daughter has appreciated her mother. She knows her mother's story. So she's like, let me tell my mom's story
Yeah.
because it's such a beautiful, unique story that shows a mother's true sacrifice for her children and will go to the ends of the earth for her children, like for the betterment of her child.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, her children. So, like you, I watched it when it first came out and I was so hooked to this movie. I actually still have the DVD.
Yeah. Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I also ended up buying the light novel version of this story as well. And it was such a beautiful story that I can watch it literally on repeat and just not ever get tired of it.
It's really
And
nice.
well, and now that I've watched it, now that I'm older, I I was able to see it definitely from a different perspective
Mhm.
this time around
As a mother, yeah.
as a mother compared to the first few times that I've watched it. And quite honestly, I felt more in tune with Hana's emotions,
Yeah.
I think this time around than I did before because I'm like, the first time I'm
You know
watching
where
it.
she's coming from kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, first time I'm watching, I'm like, "Oh, she's making all these sacrifices for her children. That is amazing. That is so beautiful." And now I'm like, we as mothers really sacrifice because we want our children to grow up and to be happy. So we
Yeah.
always put our child first. And that really resonated with me even deeper this time around while watching
Yeah.
it than it ever has before.
'Cause before you watched it as a daughter yourself, and now you can watch it as a
Mhm.
mother. That's so beautiful, I love
Mhm.
that. And I actually liked that, Yuki was the one narrating because a lot of times she says, "Oh, I wish I asked your dad more. I wish I found out more about, like,
Mhm.
how he lived in this world and, like, more of his advice and more of his life story." And I just love that her child is explaining, because obviously she got this story from her mom, and
Right.
so her mom made sure to not make the same mistake and, explain all her life story so that her
Mhm.
daughter could narrate,
Yep.
and I thought that was so cute.
It's also beautiful character development.
Absolutely. I think all the
Absolutely
characters
beautiful
actually this
character
it's very
development.
I feel like, especially in anime, me personally, I feel like very rarely is there a movie or a show where I actually like 90% of the characters,
Mhm.
which I do in this.
Mhm. Oh, 100%. Now the only person who kinda struck a nerve this
Oh,
time
I
around
know I know who you're talking about. The other mom.
was the other mom,
Mhm.
but I kinda had to take a step back because if the school called me talking about your child has been injured, like, the little boy had a cut on his ear, and that cut was really deep to the point
Yeah,
where, you know, she was like, "What were you gonna do if my child lost his hearing?"
yeah. Oh, I didn't have a problem with that. I had a problem with when he was with Yuki and talking to her, and he said his mom's gonna get remarried, and then she basically told him, "Oh, I don't need you anymore once this new baby comes."
I
That
don't
was when I was like, what?"
Okay, okay, so here's my thing with that particular scene, okay? I don't necessarily think she said that
Specifically, he probably just took it more
specifically.
as yeah, I could see
I
that.
I think it's more of, like, his imagination is running wild,
Mhm,
and he
and how he
feels
feels.
like because his mom is about to get remarried, she's has a baby on the way, he must be feeling like she's not gonna need me anymore. Like, up
Yeah,
until now, she went to bat for me, she was doing all these things just for me, like it was me and her against the world,
yeah,
and it also kinda shows a shift in the child's mind when there's change that's gonna happen. So watching this when it first came out, I was like, "Oh, man, like, if my mom did that, I would feel like I wasn't wanted at
yeah,
all."
and you're
Like, I
being left
get it.
behind, yeah.
I'm being left behind, like, my mom is creating this life for herself. And plus you kinda also hear the rumors that the other kids are saying, and I can guarantee you that little boy did not confirm with his mom
Like, what's
what was
happening and
going
everything.
on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I could see that. And I have to say, like, I honestly, first of all, I really respect Hana as like a mom, but also as a woman. Like, she saw what she wanted and she went for it, like, whether it be with her man or, her kids, like whatnot. I just love that about her. And particularly because she is actually very young in the movie.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
might still be a teenager, in fact, in the beginning, going to college. She could be like 19. But I just like even her moving and that scene when she's like rebuilding the house and just, oh man, I was like, so much respect. And she's very
Mhm.
open to listening to other people. And, obviously you have the old man criticizing her. I kind of like that type of character who's it's like cold outside, but like has a little
Super
little
warm on the
spark.
inside.
Mhm.
Yes. He bothered me at first too, just this
Yeah.
time around, because I was like, "Why don't you just be honest with her and go help her?" Like, what really bothered me is that this old man was basically giving her instruction on how to maintain the fields, how to, redo the soil and everything, like, really start her off from scratch,
Yeah.
but he was not, like, physically helping her, he was just telling her what to do.
Yeah. I mean, he was helping her, like, but yeah, I just
Right,
he's just
but
like that old man vibe, that
yeah,
angry old
but
man.
my personality was like, "So you telling me is not always gonna help, Imma need you to show me.
Mhm.
So, you gonna grab one of them hoes
You
or
better
one of them
stop.
picks, and you gonna have to dig and show me the right way to do it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I loved about their interaction in particular was that Hana was so willing and open-minded to just listen to
Yeah.
the advice that was being given to her by somebody older than her,
Yeah.
to this older man notice that, okay, this I'll say single mother because that's what she is. This single mother is trying her hardest to make a better life for her children. And I don't want her to turn out like these other, because they did mention, the townspeople mentioned
They had
younger.
some people, yeah, come in
Mhm.
and give up.
Younger city is what they call them, city folks, moved in, they couldn't maintain, and so they left. And I could tell this grandfather, when he saw Hana, he was like, "She's gonna be different." Because he went around and was telling the townspeople, "We really have to take care of her."
Yeah. I mean, I think that was after a little while, because in the beginning, he was like, "Oh, she probably gonna leave, whatever," with the other guys.
Mhm.
But I just honestly, I just love the interaction, and I love Hana's type of character that despite adversity and whatnot, she just, like, bulldozes through in a sense. And you really can't
Yeah.
hate people like that, even if, like, they annoy you to death sometimes. It's just like, wow, she's just full of love and, like, completely open and accepting, doesn't take anything really personally or whatnot. She's just like a sponge, just sucking everything in, you know?
Mhm. Which my only downside to this movie
Mhm.
was I wanted to see her, and this is gonna sound bad, but
Mhm.
I wanted to see her break a little bit more emotionally
Yeah. I absolutely
than
agree with you.
what was portrayed, because being a mother is hard,
Mhm.
and trying to raise 2 children in a society where they have this special power, they're half human, half wolf. Society is not gonna look at them as 2 regular children.
Yeah.
Like, she literally had to figure out the best way to raise these 2 small children. I think they're maybe a year and a half to maybe 2 years apart.
Yeah.
So by the time Ame was born, Yuki was only maybe 2 years old.
Yeah.
So now you got, I'll
Little
say
babies.
2 under 2.
Yeah.
You got 2 small children that you are raising on your own because tragedy has struck and the child's father is no longer in the picture, which it bothered me that he didn't have a name. I wanted to give him a
I
name, but
know. He really did. He didn't even have that much time. They were just like,
no.
"Nope, out of
They
here."
were like,
But
well, and I think it could be as signifying as it attaches you to the character.
it does. No, they kinda, like, threw him. I mean, I still got a little bit attached. They kinda just threw him under the bus. The thing is, every time I watched it, the moment the dad died, like, kills me every dang time I watched it
Mhm.
because, like, we don't even know what he was doing and why, and
No.
then for him to get thrown into a trash bag while she's watching, like, oh,
Disrespectful.
man, disrespectful.
Absolutely
Honestly, so
disrespectful.
disrespectful. But I
But
totally agree.
in
The
that
2
moment,
kids.
yeah, well, even in that moment when the dad was getting thrown into the trash bag, she was overcome with grief, literally
Yeah.
in that moment. And then after that, which she did explain in the beginning of the movie, my parents named me Hana because they wanted me to be more, I guess, happy through life.
Mhm.
And so she explained, like, even at her father's funeral, just how she was raised, she was
Just
smiling.
me smiling, yeah.
Yeah, but not smiling to be disrespectful, smiling because she remembered all of the things that he had taught her, and that's what he would have wanted. So I get that aspect, like, she is going through life smiling because even if it gets tough, even if life gets thrown at you every which way, you still kinda have to smile through it. But
Mhm.
in order for her character to be even more relatable, I wanted to see, like, the hardship mother mental breakdowns
I
almost.
I absolutely agree with you because the thing is, although this movie is, like, absolutely beautiful, it's completely unrelatable. Not that the kids being wolves is unrelatable, but actually, like, her herself is almost unrelatable because realistically, it's for most people, I would say 90% of people, 99% of people, there's no way you just have that type of resilience without having, like, a moment of breakdown, you know? And
Mhm.
she's, like, literally raising 2 kids on her own that can shift into wolves. Like, 2 kids is already hard. I
Right.
can't imagine, like, 2 kids who have the agility, speed, and energy of a wolf pup. Like, at least I can outrun a toddler. I can't outrun a wolf, like, could not be me. Okay. Like, if they run, like, what am I supposed to do? I can't catch up. Like, I would give up.
Well, and also the emotional state of these children. Like,
Yeah,
when Yuki got upset, she immediately turned into wolf form.
yeah. I'm getting beat up.
So,
Imagine a 2-year-old.
like,
Imagine your 2-year-old just beating you up. Oh my god.
the emotions are really running high with these kids. It's like,
And they're, like, extra dangerous. They have, like, sharp claws and teeth.
mhm,
Like, how does one handle that, you know?
mhm.
It's just I totally agree. I needed to see I would have loved to seen that moment of, like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do?"
Or even just like the moments where she knows the children are safe, she goes to another room and she just breaks
Yeah,
down
I agree. That really would've
because it's
mhm,
hard. Even like if she breaks down and then afterwards she's done, she like takes a deep breath and then she smiles again. Like that still would have shown her resilience, her adjusting to her new life,
mhm,
her trying to, in a sense, keep herself happy all of the time so that her kids don't see her struggling.
mhm.
Which was another thing, like both Ame and Yuki, the only time they saw her mom struggling was when they moved and her mom was trying to get the field together because
Yeah,
Yuki comes up and she was like, "Mom, what are we gonna do now? Like all of our plants have died. Like what
yeah.
are we gonna do for food now?"
But even then, she was, like, really gung ho and strong. I feel like the only
Mhm.
time I saw her, like, truly, like, lose it was when she was running after Ame.
I took that as I don't want to lose my child
Yeah, another person, like, in my life. No,
because
I agree.
she could lose him like how she lost her wolf husband. I'll call him
Mhm.
husband. You know, she saw nameless husband in her son.
Yeah.
And it also showed to me, personally, it also shows how some parents can't let go because they
Mhm.
fear for what their child is going to experience.
Yeah. I mean,
She
also
wasn't
even for her, because I mean, she this poor woman lost her husband, son, and daughter, like, all before they turned 12, and
Mhm.
I just wanna say can I just say, also, I, like, thought it was sweet that Ame was saving her and carrying her, but, like, why did he leave her in the middle of a parking lot, like, just lying there? Like, you couldn't drop her off at home? You know, your poor mother went through all that, looking everywhere for you, and you couldn't even do that? Like,
I mean,
bro, you just left her on the
she fell
pavement.
down the mountain. She fell
Yeah.
down the side of the mountain, so it depends on how far away she was from home because it might have
Listen,
been more
if she went that
dangerous.
far, he could have just taken her home, alright? He just left her, like,
Yeah, that was a little
he
messed up. I was like, "You just gonna leave your mama in the parking lot?" But
yeah, and it was a storm too. Granted, it, like, cleared up, but still, I was like, "Hello?"
I think honestly what I would have wanted in that moment is for her because she said, "I want you to live the life that you want." Like, in the very end, she was like, "Live how you want to live," which was beautiful. But I think if it were me in that moment, I would have been, "Live the life that you want to be, but make sure you come home." Because although I understand he's a wolf and he's that is the lifestyle that he has decided to go with, I still would've been like, "You are still my child. Like, I
Mhm.
still want to see you
Yeah,
because I'm going to worry about you. So, you need to come home at least once every so often just so that I know you're safe."
yeah. I also didn't remember the kids left so young, like, they left he left when
Ame
he
was
was
10
10, and she was
and
12, like,
she
leaving
was
for the
12.
dorms. So she only
Mhm.
raised these kids for less than 12 years, and they're gone. Like, that's so sad. I didn't realize that. I actually didn't realize that
Mhm.
when I first watched it. But
I
I do
didn't
feel like
either.
that aspect I think because I was young, I didn't really think about their age, but I think that aspect, it was, like, truly, like, "I gotta go. I gotta be on my own." Like, although
Mhm.
if they were a little older, it would've just made more sense, you know what I mean? But that was my only qualm with the movie of, like, why did they gotta be 10 and 12? Like
Well, she did say for Ame, she told him, like, "I understand 10-year-olds for a wolf, you're considered
yeah.
an adult."
Mhm.
And when he changed into a wolf at the very end, he looked older
He
to
did,
me.
yeah.
He looked older. I don't know. I just thought it was a beautiful, interesting shift even between the 2 children from when they were younger to when they got to the age that they were,
Yes.
because it seemed like they were polar opposite of what
Mhm.
route they actually took.
Yeah, I do agree. And I actually really like how they portrayed, like, the women in the movie, and obviously, like, what you said, the 2 contrasting, like, Yuki being super tough and fearless and kind of, like, wild, and
Mhm.
Ame being, like, the little scaredy cat and shy, but as they grow older, like, although Yuki, I feel like she doesn't really lose her toughness, she still has that quality, she
Yeah.
just becomes a little more feminine, you know?
Yeah,
And
because she was embarrassed.
yeah, I do love how she's had all these things as a young girl that and even her mom was laughing at her, like,
Her
making
mom was
fun.
cracking up.
Yeah,
I would have done
but
the same thing. I
oh,
would
that
have
was
been
the
rolling.
so and oh my god, one of my favorite moments was, you know how there was a scene where they're like, "Oh, you're the only one whose garden wasn't, like, ravaged by wild animals," and then Yuki comes in and is like,
Mhm.
"You" she's like, "Oh, pee time," and I was like, "This girl
Yep.
has been peeing around the garden to prevent wild animals from coming in."
Either that or I took it as she was transforming into a wolf at night to keep the other animals away from her mom's garden. And the reason I said that is because when Ame was fighting, or he got into that fight with, I
Yeah.
guess, a cat, and he was upset, Yuki at that time was boasting that she was like, I ran into a boar and he didn't even scare me. I scared him away, type thing. And I was like, this little girl's gonna be protecting that garden.
Mhm. Yeah. She's so cute, and I do also find it interesting that, they portrayed them like that, and then they shifted their roles, like you said,
Mhm.
almost flipping each other, but I also feel that it was interesting to me because but, like, her being a girl, having to more so fit into society and deciding to, like, go that route while he's a boy, and he kind of went, like,
On the
on
wild
this
side.
yeah, on the wild side.
Yeah. Um, I don't think that bothered me as much because when they were younger, he was very like a mama's boy,
Oh,
clinging
yeah,
to
yeah.
his mom. He didn't want to go outside. He didn't even want to be called a wolf. He was like, wolves are the bad guys. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be a bad guy. And it wasn't
Yeah,
until he caught that bird. I
and
think it
almost
was,
drowned, yeah.
well, yeah, I would think he also hit his head. I don't know if you noticed that because I didn't
Mm.
catch that the first two movies.
Mhm.
But he hit his head on that rock, and I think after he hit his head on that rock, something changed
Yeah. And
in
also
him.
meeting, like, the, the wolf, at the zoo or whatever they were at, as well as meeting his teacher, I think he just slowly yeah, they slowly just transition, which is really interesting in for me to
Well,
watch.
not only that, okay, this is gonna sound messed up, but I thought it was a little embarrassing for them to go in and they was talking to the wolf and she was
Mhm.
like, "Please tell me how you were raised in the forest in the wild," right? Because they assumed that that wolf came from the wild.
Yeah.
And the wolf kinda just looked at him like,
I've been
Uh,
inside my whole life. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. Like, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, no,
Even you
that
even Ame kept going. He was like, "I mean, he just looks so sad." And I was like, "Yeah, because
yeah.
you on the outside and he's been
Mhm.
was
Stuck in
literally
there.
born and raised in a zoo,
Yeah,
stuck
no,
in there."
honestly, I wasn't really quite sure what they were trying to show with that, but I guess it was just Ame, like, learning more about the wild and,
Mhm.
becoming a protector, whatnot. I
Which maybe that was his role, was that he was so desperate to become a protector
just
because
of not his
Yuki
family.
well, no, Yuki up until that point had been the protector. Like, she
Yeah,
was very quick to get mad at people and chase off wild animals and all these other kind of things that once Ame stepped up into that role, because they fought,
yeah, they did.
remember?
Mhm.
She was like, basically, "You want these hands?" And he was like, "Alright, let's go."
Yep.
Sibling fights, which let me tell you something. If my child was a wolf and they had a little brother, little sister that
I
was
would pray
also
for
a
you.
wolf, thank you, because I would need it. But if they broke out into a fight, I honestly would be like, Hana, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Um, y'all are
I
destroying my house, which I
yeah.
worked so hard to
Yeah.
build." Um,
Literally.
like they were scrapping.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you can't do anything. Like, literally, she was just yelling their name and just standing back.
Yeah, because at that point, I thought if she was gonna try to physically separate them,
I don't think she could
one
even
of
get to them.
them well, she was close to them.
Yeah, but they were too
Close to
fast.
the end. I honestly think if the animators had created that particular scene in a way where, let's say, for example, she physically gets in between them and separates them because Ame can't control his emotions in that scene because his eyes were red.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ame couldn't control his emotions, if he, like, attacked his mom or bit her or, like, somehow hurt her,
Mhm.
I don't think he would've ended up in the forest after that.
Mm. That would've honestly, that would've been a little interesting. Because I feel like that would've added more of a dark vibe to it, and I do think that's
Mhm,
what's really in my opinion, that's what's missing for this movie, besides, like, the dad's death, which happens very early on, and it's kind of, like, swept under the rug really
mhm.
quickly. I feel like it was very much just bright throughout the whole thing, and I would've loved to see that little bit of darkness, reality for most people.
Yeah. I think I would agree with you there, but I think it was like, this is really what I would consider the ultimate Mother's Day-esque movie,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? The ultimate Mother's Day-esque movie because it shows the hardships of the mother, but it's told only from the perspective of one child.
Mhm.
Like, we don't hear Yuki's perspective, or excuse me, Ame's perspective at all because Yuki is narrating it. But we also
Yes.
don't hear Hana's perspective. We can see Hana's perspective, but we're not hearing what she thought and how she felt within each of those particular moments.
Yeah. And honestly, I think if I'm being completely honest, what I wish they would have done is because they had a little bit of that dark vibe, like a painful moment with the dad's death. I wish they didn't spoil that in the trailers they had out because all the trailers showed
Hmm.
that the dad died, and
Yeah.
that's what hurt my soul because I'm like, if that would have been a surprise, I would have been totally shocked.
But here's the other thing, if let's say the dad didn't die and he went with them to the mountain.
Mhm.
Let's say that town that they went to, even after getting the house and redoing it and everything, they had settled in. If the dad had died somehow on that mountain by one of the villagers, I feel like that would have even been more of a slap in the face.
Oh yeah, that would have honestly taken an interesting toll. I just wish they didn't
Mhm.
spoil that because I feel like that would have just been a really good it just would have made the story a little bit more impactful to me when I first watched it, and I think for a lot of people, because a lot of people did complain about that being in the trailer,
Mm.
um, but, it is what it is. I guess they just wanted people to know, "Hey, this is what it is."
It's like, "Hey, so we have a dad. He doesn't have a name,
Yeah, he's
and he
gone.
dies within the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Mhm.
So, good
It's not
luck
about
with
him.
that." Yeah, like,
He won't
well,
be in
and
here.
that yeah, I think that also could be a reason why they kind of allowed that for the trailers because it's like, "Look, this movie ain't about him. It's about Hana and Ame and Yuki.
Yeah.
So, we gotta look past the dad's death. Like, hey, we're just letting y'all know, spoiler, dad's gone. But the rest of the movie you're gonna enjoy.
Yeah,
And I did.
I did too. It's really good, guys.
It's such a beautiful movie. Guys, Mother's Day is coming up.
Mhm.
For all of
Yay!
those who have your mothers with you that are around you, if you can and are able to sit down and watch this movie with your mom. Okay? This is like a
Yeah.
perfect bonding movie. Get some popcorn, turn it into like a little date or something,
Yeah.
and or even like a motherly figure in your life. Just or if you're a mom yourself, sit down with your kids and your
And enjoy.
family and just get you some popcorn, some flowers, some snacks, and enjoy this movie because it is beautiful. It is truly, truly beautiful.
It is. 100%
Mhm.
recommend.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us on this week's episode. We truly appreciate it. We just want to know, what did you guys think of the movie if you've seen it? If you haven't seen it, we obviously recommend
Spoiled it
going.
and spoiled it for you.
Sorry, we spoiled it, but we do recommend that you watch it from start to finish and let us know what you think. If you were in Hannah's position, how would you feel? And we hope that you guys will join us again next week for another brand new episode. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Anime Sekai Podcast. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.